Hello and welcome to 15 at 15 Friday. This is a new series that we're doing here at Ideate Software where we're giving you 15-minute sections on every other Friday at 15 past the hour. So easy to remember. Uh, we're going to talk today about smart tagging with Ideate Annotate. And I'm Jason Bailey. I'm your Ideate Software Training Manager. So, what we want to have the focus of 15 at 15 be on is really taking advantage of a lot of the learning resources that we have, specifically how-to guides and getting started exercises. So, you can see where all of those are and pretty easy to find, so I won't go into the details of that. And today's session again is going to be about smart tagging with Ideate Annotate. So what we want to see you get by this session today is to understand how to save time by using intelligent rule-based tagging and learn how to tag in non-plan view tags with filtered selections and get around some of the challenges of tagging nested families as well. So if you return to work and are able to create at least one custom rule that will delight 3 of your colleagues, we will have done our job. So the problem in Revit can be tagging is kind of manual, time consuming, a bit error prone. We know that there's tag all obviously in Revit, but that's what we're comparing ourselves to and doing better than that. So, and our solution is going to give you the power to put customizable rules behind your tagging. So a good example that everyone can relate to is a wall tag. So we'll look at the Revit tag all. The results of that would be that all the walls and curtain walls are also tagged. You don't get any real choices for alternate positions or tags or anything like that. We have an example here using a rule in Ideate Annotate called walls exclude. So it's going to intentionally ignore curtain walls and walls that don't have a type mark and anything that's in a group. So it starts to refine your results a little bit there. We've got 107 instead of 188 tags. But then what's really cool is you get the power to just really quickly and easily customize some of those filters to create it a little bit tighter of a selection. So in this case, I just simply ignore walls that have a certain type mark. In this case, they were X. It could be based on their function as like an exterior wall, and then refine their leader length. So what we went from 107 tags to 50 tags from that, I got a lot cleaner looking result with barely any work. So what we're going to do now is jump into Revit, and I'm going to do this getting started exercise. You can follow along with me. You can always come back to it later. Just watch. Okay, so now we're going to jump into Revit and have a look at this getting started guide.
Okay, from the top of the Getting Started guide over here, we've got 3 sections: Browse, Review, and Tag. As you can see, they're going to correspond to the tabs on Ideate Annotate. I've got carrots will help me navigate through there, so I'm just going to jump right down here to the Tag section. And we are in the Advanced Sample project that comes shipped with Revit, and there's some information here about how you can get those links. Most of them are going to be available on your computer, but you can download them as well when they are not. So I'm in this furniture layout view, and I'm going to use a rule here in Ideate Tag that's going to allow me to tag rooms based on how big they are. So this rule is called room ignore small. If I hover over it, I can see a little preview. It's going to tell me what that does. And I can see there that the small rooms that are being avoided are not part of the selection set. So first thing that happens when you select a rule, it's going to pick what kind of falls into that category. Okay, so if I just quickly add tags, they're all going to drop in, and essentially the tags now have replaced the rooms that were selected. I can kind of zoom in and see that, in this case, the tags are located based on that centroid of the room. We kind of see when we can hover over that. And again, like these smaller rooms were ignored, so that was great. All right, so we've added those tags, and if we continue down with the exercise, we're going to look at the overrides that pop up here. So again, I'm back over here in the view. I have selected room ignore small, which which brings up all of the rooms that fall into that category. So if I pop up overrides down here, this is where I get control to change the tag type or the position. So here's that setting of reference that was going to define the tag placement by the center of the reference point. Instead, we'll change it to the center of the room bounding elements, the walls essentially of the room. And I'm going to go ahead and change that to like the room tag with area. So in those two changes, we hit add tags. And notice that this remove existing tags was also checked. It kind of comes on by default there. And what's that doing is kind of swapping out the old for the new. So now if I go to that vestibule, I can see, the room itself, or easier if I just tab here. The room itself is not changed. That center is still there, but we've just now placed the tag on the rule based in that location. Okay. So, and then you follow along here and we'll see some of those changes that we've made, the results of those. And now the important thing is to go to that next step and, how can I make that something that always happens? So now we get into your rules. Managing rules is really easy in here. I'm going to we'll take this rooms, ignore small, the one that we've been working with, and duplicate it. And then if I edit that rule, I'm going to see kind of what's going on in here. There was some phasing information that we actually don't need anymore. And maybe I wanted to change what that area is. If it's going to be 5 meters square instead of 10 meters square. And then change again, say like, let's make it always use that room tag with area. And set. And I'll just say that this is my rooms JLB standard. Right? Save and close that, and then say OK. And now when that rule comes back in, notice that we filtered out and we're only looking at rooms. So it's kind of clearing the fog there. So I can go rooms JLB standard, bring that in, and if I'm removing the existing tags, swap them out for that new standard that I've defined.
So now let's take a look at tagging items in Elevation. Casework is a perfect example of this. So with Revit Tag All, of course, it's going to treat everything the same. You get your casework and your countertops, one choice for the position and one choice for the tag, etc. So we have a couple rules that we're going to look at in Annotate Tag for casework uppers, casework lowers to differentiate between the two. So, and you'll see how in the rule setup for that, that can be, do a number of things taking advantage of properties and parameters that we're exposing for you. Okay, so here is the Revit demo. Now we're in an elevation view, and I've filtered this to look at just casework right now. And I have a rule for casework lowers and another rule for casework uppers. I can go ahead and select to have both of those tagged at the same time. Take a look at what that's like. Both rules look like they could use a little bit of work. So what I'm going to do here is actually show you how easy it is to manage these rules and make some of these modifications. So I see that the uppers are not quite as high off as I'd like them to be, and I'd like them to have a leader too. So I can go ahead and edit that rule to say turn on the leader, and we'll make it a little bit higher, at 1/2 inch. Save and close that rule. And then for the lowers, I noticed that I've picked up some countertops in there. So I'm going to edit that rule and leave this one in place, but we'll go ahead and add a new rule. And we're going to look at the type properties, and I'm going to look for the name of that family. And go ahead, OK. And essentially, I want to find a family name that does not contain the word counter. And this is very important. I want both of these to be true. So I go ahead and save and close that. And I'm going to say OK. Now both of those rules will refresh automatically in here. I'll deselect out in my field. And then let's test that lowers one first. Now we see that it's not tagging the countertops anymore. And if I go ahead and add tags to that, it doesn't change because we didn't change any other settings. But the upper one, of course, we're looking to remove those existing tags, and those will pop it up above what we had before and add the leader on too. So let's look at another rule here. I didn't want to leave the MEP folks out too much. This is a great one about pipes. Revit tag all with pipes just is a complete mess, as you can see. You're getting everything, including risers. Same thing with just like a single choice. The Ideate Annotate tag rule, pipes long, is only going to select the elements that you want it to tag. So here's just a look at the settings on that one. So anything that's longer than 4 feet gets tagged, and anything that, and it also must have a slope that is less than 15 feet. So it's going to eliminate the unnecessary tagging of any of those risers. And then another thing that we wanted to talk about is a couple of features that we've seen up in the top of our selection. Include elements in all open views, for example, and then also for linked views. So this one we're looking at including tagging elements in all of the open views. So this is another thing that Revit Tag All cannot do. So you can tag multiple views at once. So beware of that power. That's why it's not checked as a default, because you can, of course, have many views open in Revit at one time. And then just another run through on the other feature that we have up at the top there is the option to tag elements in linked models. So this case, I just want to have the rooms. I don't need spaces in my MEP file. I just want to use the rooms that are in the architecture file. Keep it simple. So I can really easily do that. That same room rule that we saw earlier, the default rule came up for room ignore stall. And of course, I could create a new rule for rooms however I wanted to, with the knowledge that I now have on how easy it is to modify those rules. Well, that brings us to the end of our 15 minutes on Friday. Thank you for spending your time with me, and I'm really glad that you were here to see what's going on with tagging and Ideate Automate. Automate, automation in particular, is what we'll be talking about on the next 15 at 15 on Fridays. So I hope to see you then. Until then, have a great day. Bye.